Well, I believe popular mobilization is important to study because it can enable us to understand how those who are subordinated, marginalized, dominated, can challenge oppressive power relations and change their conditions. So in this kind of study, all the fundamental questions around social emancipation are in play. In relation to conventional theoretical approaches, including what we see in the mainstream media, they are usually premised on either conservative or Orientalist assumptions, or they're based on liberal, positivist, and bourgeois colonial forms of social science. Fortunately, there are a whole range of critical approaches in Marxism, post-colonialism, feminist and queer theory, which can provide a much richer way into understanding processes of popular mobilization. For my part, I draw on the work of the intellectual and revolutionary Antonio Gramsci. I'm interested in expanded Gramscian approaches, a kind of critical, historicist, humanist, dialectical, and democratic Gramsci, capable of paying attention both to capitalism and class on the one side, as well as to state power, civil society, anti-colonialism, race, gender, and sexuality and culture on the other. I believe that the philosophy of praxis, the politics of hegemony, and the history of subaltern social groups together offer a very powerful way in to the analysis of popular mobilization. Okay, well, this is a big question. I see this popular mobilization as both a sign of the contracted hegemony of the existing Lebanese ruling classes and as a harbinger of renewal, albeit in an extremely embattled form. As elsewhere in the region, we might say with Gramsci, the old is dying, the new is struggling to be born, while there are plenty of morbid symptoms or morbid phenomena along the way. The region is still capable of producing massive popular uprisings in the name of bread, dignity, and freedom, even after several years of civil war, counter-revolution, and new forms of dictatorship. Okay, well, these protests in historical context, I tend to see them as part of the long crisis and breakdown of the sectarian and neoliberal hegemony that was established and sort of re-established in a way in the country during the 1990s, following the Civil War. The 2005 uprising played a major role in throwing off the Syrian occupation. A new generation came of age after 2005, many of whom have been searching for anti-sectarian alternatives that regenerate politics far beyond the imported global civil society, quote unquote, of the NGOs and beyond the hierarchical politics of the factions. The anti-sectarian protest slogans of 2011, the You Stink protests of 2015, they're part of the background to this, and they show a jagged rhythm of development. And I suppose in this context, the socioeconomic crisis in Lebanon is both a goad and an obstacle to the development of these new forms of politics. And I suppose we will also note that Hezbollah has now lost its hegemony in relation to the concept of resistance. As ever, as elsewhere, there will be a need for a process of unification, the consolidation of some more developed consensus around the meaning of the alternative. Obviously, a politics of pure opposition can only get you so far, whether in Lebanon or elsewhere.